Alright guys, it's time to show you my new Pinball Crusader build. It's pretty close to the one I made before with the Arcan and the shield, Blessed Shield. However, this one uses the Legacy of Nightmares, and I'll go over this build and abilities later in the video. First I'll just show you, I did 55 before, on the Arcan set, so I'll do that again, but I can push higher than 60. I'll just do a quick run here to show you how it works and why it is so powerful as it is. There might be I think the Thorns with the Legacy of Nightmares is pretty much the strongest you can do with a Crusader right now. But I think it's kind of boring to play, so I actually prefer to play this pinball set right now. As you can see, the bouncing just is ridiculous on this, and you have a lot of toughness to boot. So the damage and toughness altogether makes for a really powerful set, and it helps you clean out big groups of mobs really fast. So that's pretty awesome. The thing about this set, however, is that it's pretty hard to come by. For instance, you have to find both of the rings. That's really not the hard part. The hard part is that it only works as long as you don't use any other set bonuses, and you have to use ancient items for it to count. So you have to find a lot of items in ancient, so you can pretty much gear up in ancient for every other slot. Otherwise the damage is not really there for the set. But as you can see, 55 right now is just a breeze. My health is not going down at any point or anything like that, and I clean out the mobs really fast. So you can easily use this to Torment 10 rifting. You can do this pretty fast actually, so it's good for farming also, and you can also push up to decent levels of greater rifts. I have gotten a few more items since the last greater rift I took, but I took 62 with this set, and I got even more ancient items afterwards. So I think I can do pretty high now actually. If I get a good rift, I might even be able to do 70. Now there are a lot of different variations to how you can play this, because of course the Legacies of Nightmare set pretty much gives you free choice of any ancient items you find, so you can get a lot of different abilities into the set also. I'll put a guide in the description bar below, so you can actually just click on that to find the entire guide of what items I would imagine would be the best and how to play this. I still have a long way to go for this set to actually be as powerful as I want it to be, but it's getting better and better all the time. I'll show you a bit of the differences in the from what I want and what I have. There should be quite a few differences, and I'll tell you about them and why I think the other things would be better. What this set really needs, however, is pretty much just, you know, there's an old sound when you played pinball. Ding 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 ding. That would be awesome. If you could get that by Blizzard, that would be awesome. We need that. As you can see, I just reached Paragon level 557, so that's... I don't know, I think I'm actually like very mediocre in Paragon levels compared to... I've seen some of the people are already above 900 in Paragon level, so... Yeah, I think there are plenty of people higher in Paragon levels, depending on how you play the game, of course. I like to experiment a lot and don't really just go for that one set and just push towards the greater rifts. But I think if you do that, you could actually gain Paragon levels a lot faster than I do. But what I like most about Diablo right now is pretty much the openness of you can pretty much do anything right now and still push pretty high. So that's pretty nice, actually. This Legacy of Nightmares set is just, I think it's really awesome. You can do so much stuff with it, and it has only your own imagination as a boundary. It might not have the best effects for everything, but it's worth trying out things. And I like to experiment with it. Trying to see if I can make something else work instead of just going the Thorns Crusader as everyone else does. Right, this is pretty much the weakest part of this set. The Rift Guardian, if this Rift Guardian does not spawn adds, so I don't really get more stacks from this Arcane Leniency, which is the weapon that stacks the damage. So as you can see, the Rift Guardian is taking a while, which is kind of sad, but you can't really complain too much. With the Bane of the Stricken, it's pretty simple, and you start to do a lot of damage late in the Rift Guardian. Alright, there we go. Alright, I'll just quickly take... I don't know what gem I should... I'll just give this one a few buffs. Alright, there we go. Now I'll just quickly go over the build and how it works, and I'll go over a few variations you could pull off that might actually work a bit better, but I haven't gotten the items for it yet. Alright, the first thing is, of course, this set, it pretty much makes you, whenever you get an ancient item, it gives you 100% damage and reduces all damage taken by 4%. You kind of have to just wear these two rings, and the rings, I think they count as for themselves. So if I had gotten these two in Ancient, that would be 200% damage and 8% damage reduction also. So you can see I still have a few things to do. Right now I am doing the Arcane's Leniency in the main hand, and then the Gerfalcon's Foot in the cube. I think it would be better the other way around, but I haven't found any Gerfalcons in Ancient yet, so try it out the other way if you are lucky enough to get it that way, but I am not so far. Then of course I use the checkerboard. It's pretty much the only shield that really works for this set. Gives you a lot more bounces, making the arcane leniency give you even more damage buffs. So that's pretty decent. It makes for a lot of damage. Of course you have to have the arcane manacles for the single target damage. Otherwise you pretty much are useless against the Rift Guardians. But if you can get this, it'll work pretty well. And if you don't have this but have another in ancient, but still have this in just a normal legendary, I'd say still use this one because of the insane damage against the first enemy hit. Alright, of course, as you can see, I have 3 items that are set items, which I'm just using because I haven't found anything better in ancient. But for instance, for the pants, you could use the pox folds. As you can see, mine are pretty bad. They're all the way from level 32. But if you get these in ancient at level 70, that could be pretty decent, dealing 500% weapon damage as poison to every enemy. So yeah, that would probably be a lot better. And I'm using gold skin just because this is the best I've found so far in ancient for the breastplate. But if you could get an Achilles Caress here, you could actually do something else in the Canise Cube. As for gloves, I would say these 2 gloves are the best options. This one gives you a huge shield whenever you fight an elite pack. And this one it doesn't really have a legendary effect, but as you see, it has a very high chance to immobilize my opponents, giving you much more toughness in that way, keeping the enemies at bay. For the shoulders, I would go with the Deathwatch Mantle for the Nowhere of Knives, or perhaps the Pauldrons of the Skeleton King, depending on what you want, an extra life or additional damage. For the helmet, I would probably go with the crown, giving the gem 100% additional cooldown. That would be pretty sick in the helmet. For the amulet, I would say the Eye of Eklich gives you a lot of ranged damage reduction, but you can see mine has lightning skill damage, which is pretty bad since I'm using holy damage. But for instance, a Hellfire amulet would be pretty easy to get a hold of, and you could actually use that fairly easily. So I would say that's pretty much for the best options. Of course, an option would also be to get one of the amulets that just gives you the defense against a certain element. That would still be pretty decent. Of course, in the Canise Cube, I'm using the Falcon's Foot, Achilles Caress, and the Convention of Elements for the damage buff. If you get, of course, an Achilles Caress here, you can pretty much just do something else, depending on what you're in the mood for. There are a lot of viable options for this one. And of course, I wanted to change these 2 out to make it better. So I think that's pretty much it. I'll have a link in the description showing you the guide. I have written it also. And oh, of course, I'm using the Belt of Throw right now. Of course, I should remember to say that. I'm using the Belt of Throw with the Bombardment Annihilation. It does a lot of damage with this set, but there are some options that might be even better. If you could get a Witching Hour or something like that, it would increase your attack speed significantly and make you stack a lot more leniency. Of course, for the boots, there are also illusionary boots or the ice climbers, depending on what you get. They have different effects, and some of them might be better than this. I'm not sure. Maybe the ice, so you don't freeze that often, but you use both Arkaroth, a champion, and the iron skin to get out of sticky situations like that. Alright, right now I'm using Heavenly Strength because I'm using Arcane's Leniency, but if you get your Falcons, of course, change it out for Fervor, giving you even more attack speed, making you stack so much more. Hold Your Ground is only good if you have... oh, actually it's pretty good no matter what, because you get so much block chance. I really like to use it. Of course, Towering Shield is pretty much a must have because it gives you 20% additional damage. And then of course Finery, because when you're at this point you have gems in pretty much everything, so it just gives you so much additional strength. I'm using Shattering Throw for the pinball effect. It helps you stack a lot of leniency. I'm using Iron Skin for the tough situations. Steed Charge, you can change it out. I just use it for the mobility, it's pretty decent. And the Law of Justice with the King's Strength makes you really, really tanky in a pinch. So that's pretty awesome. I use the Archera's Champion with Prophet for even more tankiness, and of course I'm just using the Bombardment because I have the Belt of Throve, but there are plenty of viable options instead here. So yeah, that's the guide, and I hope you like it. Feel free to like, subscribe, and give it a thumbs up, and I'll appreciate that. And if you have any comments or anything, feel free to share them, and I'll look into it as fast as I can. Alright, thank you.